interesting comment from LeBron.
You hear what your boy said?
Who, my boy?
Take a listen.
Who else you want to play with?
In today's game, Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Steph Curry's the one that I want to play with.
Oh, shoot.
The chef. You know what? Hey, he might want to play with you next weekend now.
That is phenomenal. When did he say that? Was that on the shop?
Yeah.
I guess the latest one, yeah.
No. Well, we got his wish. So he's the captain. He's picked me the last two All-Star games. So I don't know if that suffices, but I'm good right now.
How's that make you feel, though?
Good right now. I mean, whenever you get the interest or curiosity of what it would be like to play with, arguably, MVP kind of caliber dude like he is, and one greatest of all time. Cool. Like, it's amazing.
Right.
We all can live in that fantasy world, though.
Cool. That's all we have to say is cool. Yeah, well, we've got more friends to the table. We got Shea Burnett and Jay Williams joining us now. And, guys, this would be a very interesting situation to see this come to life, where Steph would say, well, we all could live in a fantasy world. His reaction kind of speaks for itself towards the end, but did you like
V, I got to be honest, and Jay, I've gone back and forth on this one. I really don't want to hear LeBron tell me who else he wants to play with. Look, I know you want to play with your son. It'd be a great story. I know you might want to play with Steph. That would be a great story. But let's deal in reality, because I want to hear my legends tell me how they're going to fix the current bowl of ish that they're currently sitting in, because that's the reality of it. And yes, LeBron had a hand in this to a degree. Look, he's not necessarily Pelinka. He's not Jeannie Buss. He's not the front office, but he has some sway. And we heard Magic step up here, and Magic told us, you can go ahead and look. I can talk to you.
I didn't know if you were talking to me or.
I'll try to get some FaceTime, but I'll come to you, Jay.
Okay, I would like for you to come here.
Okay, you want to do this a little two-man game right here. So to me, what it comes down to is, I've got LeBron telling me all the things he wants to happen. Reality is, he played a role in what currently happened. Does it tarnish his legacy the past year that's happened? Absolutely not. But could it tarnish his legacy if he doesn't figure out a way to get out of this next season? Then yes. And getting out of it does not involve leaving, joining forces with somebody somewhere else.
Yeah.
Figure this thing out. We just opened a show talking about Tiger Woods coming off a car accident, almost lost his life, almost lost his leg. He's out here saying, I'm going to come win the Masters. Those are the kind of legends I like to hear from. You count them out, they're going to come back, they're going to get something done. I want LeBron to tell me, hey, we're going to figure out how to unlock Russ. We're going to figure out how to keep AD healthy. We're going to figure out some savvy, low-level moves to bring in some other guys that can be impact two-way perimeter players. We're going to figure this thing out. That's what I want to hear. Not the reality world with him and Steph. I don't want to hear that stuff.
Well, in LeBron's defense, he has said that he's going to figure it out. He's talked about it throughout most of the season towards the end. And I think he is a byproduct right now of a media trap. Okay?
He's controlling that media
He's controlling
trap.
it. But he was asked a specific question. So the original question was, hey, out of all these legends, who would you like to play with? He talked about Scottie. He talked about Penny Hardaway, people that he idolized growing up. And then the question pivoted. Somebody said, well, who in today's game would you like to play with? So he answered it. Like, what's wrong with answering a question about it? I think the problem that we're starting to have with LeBron is that when you hear LeBron answer a question like that, we know how he is a mastermind at playing chess. So you automatically go to the place of, is he setting this up for the next move? But I have to defend him for a second because he's just answering the question honestly.
But what is that next move then? And why are we thinking about a next move?
That's a different conversation. He's not saying that Steph is part of the next move. He's just answering the question about if you're asking him who would like to play with, he's saying Steph.
It's not coincidental that this comes out the day after the Lakers are eliminated from the postseason, because LeBron James controls this entire narrative. He's the one that this is his production company. It's his show in the shop. And so while, yes, maybe this was just throwing something against the wall, to me, and I know there were a lot of other people listed in there. I think Luca, Wendy was telling us earlier, was listed in there as well. That's fine. But now, of course, we're all going to jump on it because A, it's LeBron James, and B, he controlled this narrative. And in terms of what this means for the NBA going forward, like, I partially agree with Jordan. While I do like to watch greatness, I don't think it's even good for the NBA to have these kinds of discussions. This is why we all fell in love with Giannis.
But it's not a discussion.
We're
making a discussion.
We're making it a discussion. We are
so when is a good time to have like this come out in the shop? Is it a week from now? Because whenever it would have came out,
around the All-Star
we would have
game.
put it together and we would have made it into this conversation.
I'm just saying, as you strategically float these things, and again, he said this a long time ago. It came out just now. But I think it also needs to be hear him talk about, hey, how are we going to unlock Russ? Hey, what are we going to do? Because these three players, him, AD, and Russ, they're playing together next
So
year.
let's play the hypothetical game.
Let's do it.
Okay? So first off, Steph wouldn't leave Golden State. He's under contract. He's proven that he wants to stay there, so he wouldn't be coming to L.A. We're playing a hypothetical game. You're telling me LeBron James would leave L.A. to Golden State. So I go back to when Kevin Durant left OKC to then go to the Golden State Warriors, he got demolished.
I had no issue with that.
He got criticized out the yin-yang, all this stuff. If LeBron James were to leave the Lakers to go to Golden State to play with Steph, a guy that beat him in the NBA Finals multiple times, I feel like that kind of vitriol would be exponentially worse than Kevin Durant.
And I guess I go back to this.
So you can't. I don't
None of
think
us
it would
truly
ever
believe.
happen.
I'm glad you threw out the disclaimer. This is just fodder. He was just asked this
Exactly.
question. None of us truly believe he's going to go to Golden State and play with Steph. If LeBron was watching right now, he'd be like, this is crazy that you're talking about
Exactly.
that. But what is a reality is LeBron could end up leaving LA at some point. And I would have issue with that. Look, player empowerment, guys should go wherever they want. If people leave networks or leave different jobs, we don't judge them for that. They're doing what's best for their family, their best mental health, and what they believe is the best opportunity. But to me, with LeBron, didn't have issue with him leaving Cleveland first go round. Young kid, needed to get out, needed to see something else. Didn't have issue when he left Miami. Won a title there, got his education. Didn't have an issue when he went back to Cleveland and left Cleveland. Delivered them a title. But now you're at one of the most storied franchises sitting there playing basketball. You've delivered a title, done your job. But you're around greatness. You have a chance to surpass Kareem as the all-time leading scorer in a Lakers uniform. You want to solidify yourself as the greatest Laker ever, win another title. And maybe it's recency bias. Maybe it's because I'm sitting here watching Tiger Woods doing what he's doing, being resilient, coming back here with that dog. I want to see LeBron say, it wasn't right last year. This is not my career. I play in the playoffs. Not only do I play, I go to the finals and I win hardware. I want to see him come back and prove this is a one-off. This is a minor stain this past season, but it will not be the story. I'm winning again in LA, and I want to see how he can figure it out because it's not laid out for him to do it, quite honestly, with how it's constructed.
Shay, here's my problem with this. Why do we act like LeBron James is not that person?
Because he hasn't been vocal about it at all.
But the dude has played. You know how many games LeBron James has played in March in his career? You're telling me in an era in which players take rests, guys don't play. This dude at 37 years old is still playing games down the stretch.
It's incredible.
And people were saying, well, it's because he's going for the scoring title. He's dropping 40 or 50 to stay in the play-in race.
They didn't get to the playoffs,
I understand
Jay.
that because the structure of their team is horrible. It's horrible. Russell Westbrook is another version of LeBron, just not at the same level. They don't have the shooters. They don't have the three.
Who had a hand in it?
I agree.
Who co-signed some of
Okay, so that's still a 33% chance that they had winning the title in 3 years. I think any realistic GM will say, yeah, this year was a crash and burn situation, but damn, I would take a title one out of every 3 years.
It didn't have to be this, though, and we don't know to what degree LeBron had a hand in it, but we sat here
But
and
now
watched.
you're being a Monday morning quarterback for a lot of teams.
We sat here and watched Magic say, you could have DeMar DeRozan, you could have Buddy Hield, you could have kept Caruso.
Yeah.
So if LeBron had a hand in that, then isn't it also on LeBron to say, I can't leave this thing as is?
So here's my thing. If you would have had DeMar DeRozan, if we're digging into the trenches of how the CBA works as a sign and trade, they wouldn't have had the cap room to go out and then get a Buddy Hield. I hear what Magic's saying, but like the actual reality
So if they had
that
a
we're
DeMar
living,
and a Caruso on this team, take away a Buddy Hield.
I think it would be different.
You think? It would have definitely been different.
I'm a firm believer of saying I think with DeMar DeRozan or a Buddy Hield and keeping Caruso would have been a difference. I know that LeBron made the wrong bet, but I'm still asking you guys to put it in its entire totality. About 1 out of 3 years, you win a championship. Like that is, I'm a Chicago Bull fan. You're a Chicago Bull fan. When's the last time they won a
Don't do
championship?
that to me. Don't do that.
So
Let's not do that.
But
Sterling.
you're taking it. These two things can be agreed upon. You can still say, job well done, you won a title 2 years ago. You can also say, you can't turn around the next season and not make the playoffs. And bigger than that, Jay, it's because of how he performed. This wasn't LeBron not getting it done. This is peak, maybe not peak LeBron, but special LeBron. It still feels like prime LeBron with the numbers he's putting up.
With AD playing 39 games this year, 36 games the year before.
Hold up, though.
And I understand that
when you had LeBron and when you had AD and when you had Westbrook on the floor together this year, when those three were whole, they were still getting outscored by the opponents. So it's not like you can simply say, bring AD back and this thing works.
Oh, I would have never said that. I mean, I think this team, structure-wise, defensively, is one of the worst defensive teams we've seen. They're
is.
old.
Because of what they let go.
It's worse than the Magic
understand
this
that.
year in terms of defense. And when they won a chip, they were either 1 through 3 in defensive efficiency the year and the year before they won that championship. They need to figure out their defense.
Which is why it's unfair to Frank Vogel. But what it comes down to is contracts could not be moved with the 3 pieces there. You're never going to move LeBron. You might have wanted to move AD. You're not going to get what you want from him.
Yeah.
Russ is collecting that $47 million. So who's the person that has to take the fall? It's the guy who built that defense. It's the guy who's won a championship as a head coach. Frank Vogel can go somewhere and win. Unfortunately, he has to be the lame duck in his position.